Welcome to this week's edition of the Ramblin' Runnels podcast, hosted by Jesse Runnels. Jill couldn't make it this week. Well, she's not here right now. Maybe I'll put her in this podcast this week, but, don't get your hopes up. This week was a busy week, we had Valentine's Day, February 14th, and Jill's birthday this week, so it was a very eventful week and busy. I'm not a big fan of being super busy all the time, kind of gets stressful, but I made it through all those activities, so I'm glad I made it through this week. It wasn't a very restful weekend, but, hopefully next weekend will be, but I don't know. I don't know if it will be because I think me and Jill are going out of town to see her parents in Alabama, so I don't know, hopefully that'll be fun and not too, high impact, low maintenance weekend, rest up a little bit. But, something of note other than those activities that I detailed about Valentine's Day and Jill's birthday happened this week in the sports world. Something very big happened in New Orleans. Dell Demps was fired, and I kind of said, I hinted at this last week's podcast about Dell Demps being fired, or, they should fire him. I think I said that. I'm really glad that happened because, he was a terrible general manager. Like, this is his second superstar having to be traded away under his regime. He traded away CP3, Chris Paul. If, didn't know what CP3 stood for, but Chris Paul was traded away. I don't know if it's because of him, but he was there. So I'm going to blame him. Fuck it. And now Anthony Davis. I feel if he didn't blow up the deal with, Boogie, or, at least got some solid talent, or something, if he would have did better and the Pelicans were more, winning more, made it to the playoffs more years because they had more talent around AD. I feel like he wouldn't have left by now, but, obviously I can't blame the guy for leaving if you only make it to the playoffs twice and, his 6-7 year career here in New Orleans. So, I totally put that responsibility and the reason why Anthony Davis is leaving on Dell Demps' shoulders. He probably could have signed DeMarcus Cousins if he had really tried, and he blew that up. So, I really hope no one has to suffer through a Dell Demps general manager, in any other city, because this guy is the worst. I remember him saying that he was in the D-League once as a general manager, and in the interview he mentioned that he, failed sometimes in the D-League. Guess what, bud? You failed again in the NBA. Terribly. So please don't waste any other franchise's time by even bothering going to another, job as a general manager. You're going to mess that up too. Give it up. You suck. But I think, I've highlighted everything you could say about Dell Demps' debauchery as a general manager, so let's keep it going. Well, I mentioned it was Jill's birthday this week. She turned 31. It was a very eventful, birthday weekend, because, today's the 17th. Her birthday was yesterday. And we did brunch yesterday with, I was the only dude there, so whatever. I didn't say much because it was early in the morning. I just kind of let her talk with her girlfriends, and I just sat there. And we ate at this, breakfast brunch place, and it was pretty good. Got coffee and all that, but, it was pretty good food. I think Jill got biscuits and gravy, and I got, crab cakes Benedict. I was like, feel I should be, risky with, my food options at this place, and it wasn't too bad, I'll probably get something different next time I go to this place, but, it was pretty cool. And then, we went to this cat shelter. Jill wanted to go to a cat shelter, and she pet this cat. We pet kittens, and we found this big, huge Maine Coone mix, and, Jill's, fell in love with this cat, and I was like, oh, geez, we don't need another cat, because, we already have 3 cats, and we're fostering a blind dog that runs into the wall all the time, so we don't need any more animals for our already existent animal farm. But, she enjoyed herself, so that's all that really matters. After that, we came home and, rested up, and then we had Jill's party that night, and, some people came over, and, we just hung out, talked, and it was fun, saw some friends, and Jill exchanged presents, and we had, this place, we had food from this one place that, it's this famous place, it's called Tony's Seafood. We got some jambalaya and boudin balls, and it was real good. I had cake, and it was fun. And then we played this game. It was kind of like Clue, but not. It was like, instead of, you guess the same things, like, the person, weapon, place, but you like, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons-y, because somebody like hosts the game as the game's going along. And I didn't last the whole game because, like, I'm 30, so, like, I can't stay up past 10, so I went to sleep like 10:15, and people were still playing the game. I was like, I can't make it, so I just went to bed. But I heard it was pretty fun for my wife because she stayed up, so. And I don't think they stayed up much longer after that. And then, today, I let my wife have fun with her friends again today. I just drove them around to places like a coffee shop, and then they went to the Crew of Mutts parade, which is like, because it's Mardi Gras season, so there's this parade in downtown Baton Rouge where there's just nothing but I think dogs, so it's like a dog parade. It's fun, but I don't know, I've been to it a few times, and I didn't really want to see it. But yeah, that was basically how our weekend went. Oh, and let me talk about, Jill was super popular from last week's episode. It was a real hit. I'll try to have her on more podcasts as it goes along, but this week, I don't know, I feel like, I did mention she might be on this podcast, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's good that we have like a buffer between those, and, in the future, we'll probably have her as a regular, but, it was nice to, have a podcast with a special guest, and, especially having that first guest be my wife was very special, and, I'm glad it was funny. I remember, our back and forth banter was pretty popular. It was funny, and I had a good time, doing that with her, and hopefully we get some other guests too in the future. But I'm glad that I have this platform now. I've been, it's been I didn't know I would enjoy doing this podcast thing, but it's been fun so far, and I'm glad that, people are out there listening to this thing, and I hope people enjoy this week's. This week was more of like a summary of this week and what happened, but, that's, I think I'm happy with this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it,